Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tom Kelly. This is the recording of our conference call from Thursday, January 24th. I just wanted to post it for you guys to watch. If you recall, well, if you want to watch it, you probably weren't actually there, but we had intended to spend half the call on the completion of our marketing plan and half the call on some information about athletic fields and how to get business with municipalities. Well, the marketing part of it went the full 60 minutes, so we didn't get to the athletic field stuff. But we did do a follow-up call on Friday to go over the athletic field stuff. I will post that as well. But in the meantime, this particular conference call covers 60 minutes of marketing, like we kind of always tend to do. Marketing is so important this time of year. It should be dominating your entire day, and it's all about making sales right now. So what we did was we broke down our sales goal into achievable sources where all of our sales are going to come from. Talked about closing percent and how to actually implement it. So if you need to take a look at it, here it is. It's about 60 minutes long, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks. All right. Hey, guys, what's going on? Thanks for jumping on today. It's been a crazy week, absolutely crazy week, and that is awesome. That is a good thing. And I keep trying to explain to some of the non-lawn care people around here that just when they think it's busy, they should wait, and then it gets busier. And when they think that's busy, well, they ain't seen nothing yet. Because it does get, as you guys know, it gets crazy. And it's starting early around here. We are ramping up in a big way. I know that many of you guys have calls into me. I think I'm pretty much caught up. Occasionally I'll refer them to Scott, but if I owe any of you guys a call back, forgive me, and I'll get back to you this afternoon or tomorrow. But it's been completely nuts around here. Got so much going on that it's awesome. Like I said, there's much worse problems to have than being busy, and I know that it's going to translate to lots of good things. And if you guys aren't busy yet, you know that you're ramping up and about to get very busy. We did a couple things this week, and a lot of it I've talked to you guys already, but I want to address right off the top. The new site went live probably a little bit prematurely, and we're looking at it right now. The new site did go live, and Luke still needed to make a couple of tweaks, especially with the search function. And one thing that right here, I think he took it down. When we searched by zip code, it didn't single out the particular. Yeah, he did take it down, so that's not good either. That it's showing that. It was showing when you put in a specific zip code, and most of you guys or some of you guys had already talked to you about this, but the zip code was put in, and every applicator in the state would come up, and that's not how we want it to work. We want it to work so that if a homeowner goes to the website, puts in their zip code, you should come up. If you've got the protected area in that particular zip code, you and only you should come up, not a group of the entire state. So I asked him to take that down while we tweak it. We have to do it by zip code, and we will. It'll create a little bit of, actually a lot of work, mostly for Luke, but that's the whole point. That's the whole point of protecting territory. That's what it's all about. The search by state, I think, is up here. Some of the copy is done. It's not completely done. You did kind of jump the gun by sending it live. Actually, I wish it wasn't completely live right now, because if a consumer is there and enters their zip code, it's going to get that error. So I'll talk to him about that after the fact. Secondly, the measuring tool that Luke had moved and taken off to put on the MLQ profile thing. He put it back, and if he hasn't put it back yet, it should be back any minute now, because he moved it before he should have. I wished he didn't. I know it. You guys use that all the time, and I wish that he had not moved it, but he did. I yelled at him. He cried. and he said he was going to put it back. So it should be there. If it's not, we'll make sure it does soon. It is by the end of the day. Also, Luke is doing a lot of work. Exactly, Scott McHenry, right? You were the last email that I had about him moving the measuring tool, and I finally gave him the old "how you doing" about it. I said no more screwing around. Just put it back. So he put it back, or he's going to put it back. And for any of you guys that deal with Luke, he is a really unbelievably talented person. If you don't know it, he's a young guy. I don't think he's any older than 23 or 24 years old, if that. And he is, I'd put him on the genius plane. He does incredible work. He's not a great communicator in person or even over email, but I am dating him, Chris. Not seriously, because I'm married, and my wife tells me as long as it's not emotional, it's okay. So I'm not dating him emotionally. I'm dating him just, for a strong friendship. But he's a really totally talented guy. He's not the best communicator in person by email, but what's great about him is that he's able to kind of understand what you're asking him to do, and he can translate it pretty well. I wanted to go into a couple of websites that he's done for guys just recently, and I think probably some of you guys are on the line, and I hope you don't mind if I use them, but check him out, because he does a great website. Yeah, Scott, that could be too. Scott mentions look like the links from the BeeSafe site to our websites aren't functioning just yet either. Like I said, he flicked the switch and turned it and made it live prematurely. I wish he didn't. Any suggestion you guys have on it, because it's live? It's at BeeSafeLawns.com. I'd love to get the. It's my perception or my understanding or my want that this is a completely consumer-centric website. I want this to generate business for you guys. It's important to me that it generates business. And I had the NOFR and the PLACA things up there, and I had a couple other things messed around, and we've got a little bit of a differentiation of opinion here as to how much dealer recruitment stuff should be on here. In my feelings, it should be 0. Maybe a button up the top that says if you'd like to become a dealer or something, applicator. But I'd like this to be a completely consumer-centric site. So we jumped the gun a little bit, sending it live. We'll get it fixed up. Here's a couple of sites that Luke's working on, or just finished. This one, Turf, Ohio. I like the look of it. It's got some great features. I got to move my console here. Nice pictures. I think it's nice and clean. It looks good. Christy, I'm going to use yours. Christy Garrison up here. Chris, yours is a good one too. I agree. And how about Ricky? Are you on the call right now? Ricky Telesco. Ricky Telesco, please report to the principal's office. Ricky Telesco, please report to the principal's office. I don't think he's on. Man, we got almost 40 people on this call. Holy Jesus. Excuse my language. Yeah, Rick's on. Rick, your site is awesome. So Luke did this site for Rick Telesco, Troy's Landscaping. One of the things that I like a lot is that he's got the widget on here, the real-time quote widget. So if somebody's at his website at 3 in the morning, clicks on this, gives you the old, we've been through this before. My go-to meeting thing is telling me I may be experiencing degraded audio quality. So if that's the case, forgive me. So anyways, you got the whole auto quote thing on here. It works pretty awesome. I think this is going to make sales. This is literally going to make sales. And that's what we want to do. In today's day and age, when we're all trying to figure out exactly how we're supposed to make sales and deal with marketing, this is one way that it's going to happen. So if you've got a website through Luke and you want to drop this thing on here. Let them know. If you'd like Luke to do a website for you, give him a call. Make it happen, and it should look good. Peter's asking a question, is there a way to leave the measured area highlighted until the entire site is measured? I don't think so, Peter. I think you have to click to add it to it. I don't think it will stay completely shaded. Yeah, Chris, you have to be signed up. That's something we didn't talk about yesterday. Chris Paul yelled at me for about 40 minutes yesterday, and I just sat there and I took it. I didn't yell back at him, but we were all good by the end of the call. So yes, Chris, you have to be signed up, and I know that, yes, you did give me encouragement too. All right, we got a lot to do. So I'm going to move on here. Here are some of the sites. They look awesome. Luke does great work. He's not going to win an award for communication. Someday his wife will divorce him because he doesn't communicate well with them. And that's it. So let's move on. We want to do a couple of things. Also, the functionality of our website will be updated. The search feature will be updated. Any suggestions on content and copy, please let me know. Send me an email. And we'll get it figured out. We'll get it up and good. Okay, so one thing I want to do first, we got two things to do today. We're going to talk about completing our marketing plan that we've been working on for the last few weeks, and we're going to spend some time talking about how to get and quote athletic fields and municipal work again, and we'll talk about some of the agronomics with it. The question here is, are we still doing any SEO work to help us? That's part of this whole site, Chris. The whole new site is designed to be able to be found nationally by any consumer who's searching specifically for organic lawn care. So yes, that the answer to your question is yes. That's one of the reasons we did the new site. All right, so I want to finish this off here. We've been talking about building this sales plan. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I know you guys sometimes cringe when I talk about planning because I see the number of people on the call drop. But we've spent really, 4 or 5 weeks since the end of last year working on how to build this plan. And every week we chip away at it a little bit. We never completely finalize anything. We've been talking more about theory and possibilities. We've been talking about how to actually calculate a few numbers. Today, I want to pretty much finish this off because it's time. At this point, you need to have your sales plan finished, and it's time to implement it. So again, plan, implement, adjust. We'll do the plan. You need to implement it, and when things don't work, you need to adjust. And things don't always work. So I spent some time the other day finishing, filling in some blanks, having an official completed plan here. And depending on how much money you got or how much you want to grow, how many current customers you already have, depending on lots of things, these numbers won't match specifically for what you're doing particularly. I built this one based on like a startup, based on having no customers. So obviously that first number up here that says beginning count. Actually, I'm going to use a new tool here. Watch this. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Look at that. How sweet is that? So beginning count, however many customers you have right now, you're going to put in there. This particular plan that we've been working on since really December revolves around making about 450 sales. In this case, we're going to try to end with 450 new customers. That means we need to make 482 sales because we'll take 32 cancels, which I believe is 7% of 482. 7% new sale cancellation is typical. 7% of your new sales will cancel. Some of them aren't happy with you. Some of them move. Some of them tell you that they're moving and they ain't got no money. Some of them die. 7% of these people will not be your customer on June 1st. Plan on it because it will happen. Old customers, you're going to be in the neighborhood of 15%. But with this particular plan, we don't have any old customers, so we're not going to plan on it. So these are numbers that you shouldn't get totally stressed out about because it's going to happen. You just simply can't keep everybody happy all the time. People lose their job. People move. People just don't care. I mean, it's going to happen. The typical cancel rate of 15% is normal. 15% of your customers will cancel at the conclusion of the year. Sometimes when you're good, you can keep it to 12, but seldom will you keep it to less than 12%. So, you know, on 1,000 sales, you're going to take 120 cancels. I'm reading a long question. Ricky, we'll get with you on that. Scott and I will call you about that after the fact. Okay, so we'll have 450 customers. Our average revenue per customer is $432. Round revenue is $432 times 482, $194,400. Based on that round revenue and those number of customers, you will make this many optional sales. These are the percents. These are the percents here of this that will equal this. You will do $1,652 in spring aeration. Ant flea and tick, a minimum of $6,200. That number seems to me a little bit low. I don't know why I have 3.2%, but that must have been a number I got from somewhere. This is all based on historical data. Grub control, you hear me talking about selling preventative grub control all the time, and you'll make a lot of sales doing it. 13%. 4% limestone, you're going to want to do a pH test at the beginning of every year, round one. Make note of it. And upsell limestone if you've got low pH. Upsell gypsum or sulfur if you're going the other way. And make sure that you get this information to your customers. Aeration and aeration with seeding will make a lot of money for you. So you'll sell $6,000 in aeration, $12,000 in aeration with overseeding. You'll have gross sales of $252,000. How are we going to make 482 sales? Well, we've been looking at this. Tina, yes, we can email this to you. Christy, awesome. Christy's talking about how she's upselling gypsum a lot based on soil pH and doing standard soil tests. You too, Chris, I'll email it to you. Maybe I'll put it somewhere where you can all download it. I don't want to put it on the regular website because it's not password protected, and this is the kind of stuff I like to keep to ourselves. I'll tell you what, instead of posting it somewhere, email Scott. Scott's going, oh, man. Sorry, Scott. Email Scott if you want this, sspencer@NTI Organics, and he will email it back to you. Okay, Scott? Yes, he will. Scott, you're taking some heat here, buddy. Okay, so here is our a sheet sort of a worksheet we've looked at to try to figure out how we're going to make our 482 sales. You've heard me say all the time, you got to spread it out. Don't depend on one particular source. Don't put your eggs in one basket because you'll get in big trouble. And I often tell the story of 2007 when we did 500,000 direct mail pieces and then it snowed. That was putting a lot of eggs in one basket. It was $1 million of direct mail that went out the same time an unexpected nor'easter hit us here in the Northeast, and followed by biblical flooding. It was about $1 million explosion. Don't put them all in one basket. Referral. You got to have a referral program. I repeat myself on this all the time. Any piece of paper, any electronic piece of information, anything that leaves your office, leaves your trucks, needs to state that you've got a referral program. It needs to make Facebook too, exactly. It needs to have a method in which a customer can refer a friend or family member to you, and it needs to have an offer. You need to give them something to make them want to do it. And I've heard in a lot of cases, just giving cash makes the biggest difference. We used to give away free apps and free Lime and half price this. Got to be a pain in the ass to track. We made a lot of referral sales, but sometimes maybe it is just cash. How about $50 if you send us a referral? That's the cost of doing business. Ricky, that's another thing. We would probably want to follow up with me and Scott after the fact. We got a lot to cover right now. That's a long. I guess a couple of things. Takes one person can treat 500 customers all day, every day, all year long, and one tank will do the trick. How am I basing referrals on a new company? Because one thing that we're going to do is, of all these other sales, once you start bringing people on, you need to get at them. Even if it's a new customer, even if it's somebody that's not a customer yet, it could be a new sale that's about to happen. Who doesn't love making $50? So you've done an estimate for Joe. He thinks he's going to sign up. He finds out that he can get $50 if he tells his sister whatever to sign up. Referrals happen all the time, and if you really focus on it and have it included in everything that you do all the time, you will make referral sales naturally. Pre-qual is usually what we do when we call. Pre-qual is a fancy word for reject. Pre-qual is any person you have in your database. So I know that we're doing this starting from zero. But all of you, almost all of you, have existing business otherwise. So a pre-qual would be somebody you've done work for in the past, somebody you might do maintenance for, somebody you might have done a giant construction job for. I got to think that at least most of you have, at the very least, 200 people to call. If you don't keep track, if you don't keep a database, if you don't have a marketing universe on how to keep track of every person you ever talk to, friggin' ever, make a change now. You have to make a change now. You need to keep track of every name, every number that ever comes through your email or your phone number. 200 of them. You can make 40 sales on that. You will close 20%. Get on the phone and call them. Just get on the phone and call them up. Say, hey, we did a job for you before. Could we get you an estimate for our new lawn care service? And send it to them and then follow up. You'll close them at 20%. Direct mail. This is a number that we get scared with sometimes, that because it's the most expensive. Direct mail is going to cost you the most money. The return rates are horrible, but it's kind of it's kind of predictable. So if you need to get 200 leads, and you can expect a return of roughly 20%, not 20%, roughly 1%. 1% of every direct mail you send out will request an estimate. Usually less than 1%. I'm going to use 1% just because I'm not smart at math and I don't feel like banging on my calculator right now. But to send out 20,000 pieces, 20,000 direct mail pieces will get you 200 leads. You will close those at roughly 62%, and you'll get 124 sales. 20,000 pieces at about 50 cents a piece is $10,000. $10,000 is the cost. 124 sales at 432. 124 times 432 will generate $54,000 in revenue. They're expensive, but it's predictable. If you can't afford to do that or you're scared of it, you got to find it somewhere else or you're going to make fewer sales. Cancel mailing, reject mailing. How about a quick door knocking campaign? If you want to make sales, you got to get out on the road. Door knocking, whether it's some kids, whether it's your employees, whether it's you hire somebody. Generating 225 leads by knocking on people's doors isn't impossible. This doesn't work in every single town. A lot of towns have ordinances against it. Not every town does, but literally just walking up and down doors, and we've talked about this before. True Green does this in a huge way. Doesn't make everybody happy all the time, but we need to make sales. So knock on doors, ask if they can give an estimate. I don't think you want the door knocker to be the salesperson. You do not want the door knocker to be the salesperson. You want the door knocker to be the lead generator. You want them to have a clipboard, a nice shirt. They need to be completely, it's a word I'm looking for. You don't want them to look threatening at all. We used to have this guy who was missing a front tooth and was walking around with a hood on, knocking on people's doors asking to do estimates, and somebody called the cops on him. You need pleasant, hot chicks. So I didn't want to say it, but somebody typed it in there. Hot chicks would work. Somebody, maybe high school kids, college kids, you pay them short money. They walk up to every door a couple hours a day. Can we give you an estimate? They have their clipboard. They take down the information. You can generate 225 leads doing that. You'll close those at roughly 35%. Ooh, saw truck is a cool lead, because if you've got a nice logo on your truck, or some of you guys have really cool wraps, it's a driving billboard. You'll get people who'll call every spring and say, hey, I saw your truck in my neighborhood. Can you do an estimate for me too? Tina, I know I've seen that out there too. Tina Montone mentions there's a couple services where the girls actually wear bikinis while working. It's funny. I see that online all the time. It's that kid who runs that software company, and I don't know him, but he posts videos about that all the time. Saw truck, 25 leads, 19 sales. You'll close them high. Landscaper. We were talking with Mike Riley yesterday, who's one of our new guys in Massachusetts. I think I saw him on the call. Mike, if you're on here, welcome. I didn't review our new dealers this time. We've got 4 or 5 new dealers, and I should have reviewed them, but I didn't. We'll do that next week. And we were talking about the landscaper source code. This is not going to work for everybody, because some of you are landscapers and you don't want to talk to your competition. But get in good with other companies in your area who simply aren't offering lawn care. Most of them, and you guys know what I'm talking about, say, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to do lawn care. I do my maintenance. I do my construction. But what better source for leads than somebody who gets asked that question all the time? So we used to have a referral program with every landscaper we could possibly talk to in our area, that we say, we want to do either your work, and you can bill us, we'll do the work on a subcontractor basis. Even better, why don't you just give us your customers or refer us your leads, and we'll pay you something for everyone that signs up. It might not work for every single one. You might have to pay certain guys more, certain guys less. Develop relationships with other landscapers in your area and tell them you want their lawn care business. Tell them that you want to work with them and get their lawn care business. And you'll refer business to them too. Now, some of you guys, you've got competition that you don't want to necessarily deal with, so it's not going to work perfectly. You can certainly generate 100 leads off of that. Chris, are you talking about door knocking as the highest rate of return? Is that what you were talking about when you say that? Oh, saw truck. Okay, yeah. Oh, the highest closing percent. Yeah, with your truck driving around, somebody sees it, calls in. Yeah, your closing rate will be really high with that. Absolutely. AdWords, don't spend a ton of money on AdWords. Just don't, because you can just burn through it so fast. But by placing ads on Google, whenever somebody searches for lawn care, you're going to show up. Be careful with that, because you can burn through it so fast if you're not careful. Sometimes it makes sense to talk to an expert at AdWords, and they'll take care of it for you. But that will generate leads. It will also generate a big bill if you're not careful. Internet search. One of our guys sent me a couple of questions over the week, and at the conclusion he said, I should remind you guys to sign up for Google Local. And that's true. That's Google's version of the Yellow Pages, basically. So go to Google, search for Google Local, you submit your listing, and anytime anybody searches for lawn care or what your search words are, you'll come up as if it's Yellow Page ads. You got to do that. You have to. If you haven't done that, do that when this call is over. Go to Google, figure out how to register as Google Local, and get on the search engines. search engine optimization is very difficult. To show up in the top first page on Google organically, no pun intended, is difficult. It's very tricky and takes a long time. You can spend a lot of money trying to figure that out too. Chris Paul, who I've talked to a lot about SEO, he's been working with that. Chris, maybe you can post that or tell me who that company is. We can throw them a referral. He's worked with an SEO company. He says he's getting some pretty good results from it. There's a lot of snake oil out there too. Yeah, send me an email. There's a lot of companies saying they're going to do it, and Google changes the rules so often it's almost impossible to keep up. New homeowner. Well, we've also got telemarketing, which you can fall back on if you have to. Basic telemarketing. 50% of the homeowners are on the do not call, 50% aren't. That doesn't mean you can't call the 50 who are. Lead generation, very soft, calling people up, asking if you can do an estimate for them and actually doing it. Home show, different results. Different guys like home shows, some don't. You could probably do an out, like I've always said. Don't spend a lot of money doing it. Don't spend more than $1,000 to be somewhere. Generate some sales, however you want to do it. The driveway packet we've talked about a little bit. Company down in Pennsylvania. Green Lawn Fertilizing. Some of you guys know them. Used to be an acquaintance of mine. Used to throw packets of information at people's driveway. They threw hundreds of thousands of driveway packets. Just would drive up and down streets and throw stuff in people's driveways. And it made some of them mad. You're always going to make somebody mad, but it worked. Just swag. I think there was like a pen with their name on it, an estimate request form, a couple magnets, cost very little money, and generated a lot of sales. That's something you can look at. The new homeowner source code is huge. Mike and I were talking about the new homeowner source code yesterday, and I remember one time last year we had found a company that is really, really inexpensive to get new homeowner leads. If anybody remembers that, type it in there because I couldn't remember what it was. Print ads, I don't like them. They cost too much money. They're only going to work if you stick with them for 6 months. Our sales window is pretty short. Some of you guys have told me you've had good results with print ads. If you did, just hopefully you were keeping track of your historical data. You know how many sales you generated from last year's print ad. You'll do it again. Service Magic. Some of you guys use Service Magic. Generate leads. Works pretty well. Email Blast is a new one. An email blast has always been difficult in the past, but I think you can generate some significant sales off of it. And I found a great company that will sell you, where is it? They will sell you consumer email lists. Right here, National Data Group. National Data Group, I have a contact for you. Mike Nizzi. Mike.Nizzi. Nizzi. Let me try something. Ready? Watch this. Wonder if this will work. Mike, no, that's not going to work. Forget it. Mike.Nizzi, Nizzi, at nationaldatagroup.com. Couldn't believe how inexpensive buying an email list would be. Send email blasts, develop an email marketing campaign, generate leads. We could do a whole hour on how to do this, and I don't want to right now because I'm already long-winded and wasted a lot of time. Not wasted, we're getting stuff done, but email blasting, event marketing. Some guys have messed around with that before. You can generate some leads, sponsor something, Little League or whatever, just be a sponsor for anything, and you can generate some estimates. Nothing usually huge. Some companies have done radio advertising, but the problem with that is usually geography. Sal, good question about the spam. This company guaranteed me that they were all opt-in, emails. They said that you could get a 20% bounce rate possibly. Trust me, I've been looking for consumer email addresses from a reputable company for a long time because they're hard to come by. This is the one company that I seem to trust. I have no historical data on it. I just know that it seemed relatively good. So yes, they are all opt-in, and you're going to be all set with that. Flyering is a source that while your people are door knocking, for people who aren't home, you've got to put a flyer on their door, and you got to leave a lot of flyers to get any return. But you got people walking up and down the street knocking on doors. They're going to get to a lot of houses with nobody at them. Okay, neighborhood production postcard is a thing that we used to do, that when we did an application, we would send a postcard, little postcard in the mail to every abutting neighbor saying, hey, we just did your neighbor's lawn. If you sign up, we'll give you a free app, something like that. You're going to need software to be able to do that. I bet you Service Autopilot allows you to do something like that. I know Real Green does, because that's what we did it through. And then television. Television's usually too expensive, but really reaches a very wide audience, but it's always fun to put it on there. There's always the other. You'll always make sales that are coded as other. And as much as I tried over the years to get our office people to only code it as it is, and it's important that you always code every single source that comes in. There was always 25 sales or more, because of bigger offices, that were coded as other. What those were, I don't know, but they'll come in as other. I'm told by Dave that Service Magic is now Home Advisor. I didn't realize that Service Magic had changed names. Home Advisor, huh? I'll have to look into that. We used to generate a lot of leads through Service Magic. Look into it. If it's called Home Advisor now, change it. Hopefully it's about the same thing. A couple other, you guys have typed in other things. Networking is huge. Chamber of Commerce, you're right, Tina. Just being an expert. How about going out and doing a couple of talks, garden clubs, being that local expert. There's other things. You do press releases, so much. Just be active in your community, talking to people. That's probably where those others come from. Networking is huge. You're absolutely right. Couple questions here. Mark is saying that he's getting good leads from Home Advisor. That's good to know. We used to Home Advisor, now Service Magic. I'm going to have to get out of the habit of saying Service Magic, but look into it, you guys. Home Advisor. It's really going to generate leads for you. I see you have nothing in the home show that's not a recommended source. Home shows. I've never generated a ton of leads and sales from a home show. That doesn't mean that you can't. Here's what I'm afraid of. You go out and you spend $2,500 to do a display at a home show, and you make $500 worth of sales. Or let's just say you spend $2,500, you make $2,500 worth of sales, you break even. I guess it was worth it, but you have no gain. A lot of times a home show is covering a larger geographical area that you're going to treat. So you get lots of leads from other areas. What I've said before with home shows is, and these companies are just dying to get to fill the booths. If the cost is $2,500 to do a home show, wait until the last minute and say, hey, I'll give you $800. And I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 they'll say okay. If you can get into a home show for less than $1,000, do it. If it's more than $1,000, I don't think I'd do it unless I know that that home show has worked for me in the past. Dave's telling me that Home Advisor is the same exact thing, but they raised the cost a little bit. The cost was still pretty decent. Pay like $9 or $10 for a lead. Good question, Keith. Keith is asking, when is the best time to release direct mail? That's the question that has us all biting our nails. Keith, if I remember correctly, you did a direct mail campaign last year and you did it too early, right? And you didn't get a good response. I can tell you up here in the Northeast, it sucked, he says, right? I think your timing was off. You got to look at the piece. You got to make sure with direct mail. Okay, let's do direct mail for a couple minutes. You need an offer. An offer is important. You need to give something away. If you don't have an offer, don't bother doing it. People want something for nothing. So a free app, whatever. Half price this, give away that. You need an offer. You need a good list. There is that inexpensive postal service door-to-door direct thing. You can do it by carrier code, so you can cut your costs that way. But a lot of times, instead of doing that, if you use a good list that you can set up your demographics with, so you're only sending your direct mail to, say, homeowners that make $65,000 and up with a home value of more than $300,000. Find who your target are. A list company is going to be able to give you exact demographics. So if you're doing every door direct whatever, you're getting people who have lower incomes. You're getting, and again, it's based on carrier route or certain areas within a zip code. So that's not completely true, but it's going to go to apartments and condos, unemployed people, divorced people, renters, and every freaking piece counts. It's expensive. You want every piece to go to a place that that has potential to become a customer. So you buy a pretty good list based on demographics. Talk to a list company. I would say, I'm trying to remember who my list person is. Info USA, Danelle something or other. I'll find it and put it up next week. So the timing is always right before True Green hits the road. So you want your pieces to hit right before True Green hits the road. You don't want them to hit during the treating season. You want them to hit prior to, but right before treating. It's that day that you can't describe, but you know when it's spring. So up here in the north and even in the transition, it's different than in the west and the south. But there's that first day where the college kids are out throwing the football, where you can smell spring. You want it to coincide with people sensing spring, where people want to get out there. Keith, does that mean that we should mail them out in the snow? Not necessarily, no. It's right when the snow has melted. It's right when the snow has melted and people are feeling, you know, when you see the guy in the neighborhood who can't stay in his house and he's raking his lawn and there's still snowbanks? That day. That's the day you want them to hit. It was always for us right around St. Patrick's Day. So it's the snow isn't completely gone yet. That's right. It's well, True Green. I don't think we're going to get to athletic fields today because we're talking a lot about marketing. So that's not a horrible thing. We'll do a little bit of it. But there's so many awesome questions coming up right now that I want to hit as many as I can. Keith also mentions that's when True Greens hits. True Greens hits when there's still snow on the ground. True Green's direct mail is done by one national service, and they have a real hard time timing when it hits. So this is the one thing you don't want to copy True Green on. There's no regional marketing person deciding when the direct mail goes out for True Green. There's somebody in Memphis who's doing it by region, but they aren't looking at the forecast. Think of the number of direct mail pieces that are going out from millions and millions and millions of direct mail pieces are being delivered by True Green, and their timing sucks. Their timing is awful. The amount of money that they waste on direct mail that doesn't go to where it's supposed to go, the timing is off. So don't copy them with that. It's hard to get it exactly right, but it needs to go on that first day of spring, where that crazy guy is out raking his lawn, that first time when the college kids are out throwing the football around, and the moms have the kids at the park and their jackets are off. You want it to hit right then. That's different all over the country. I mean, Christy's probably laughing at us right now because, Christy, it's not snowing much in South Carolina, is it? Let me back up and look at some of these questions. Lots of questions about regional things, and one here is Wisconsin. We don't warm up until May. When will be a good time to mail it out? Again, Sal, kind of based on everything I just said. It's gonna apply to you in a different sort of way, just at a different. It's just. I don't think it would be that late. Now that I think about it, Sal, I don't think I'd wait till May. Watch the True Green guys. When the True Green guys are out and treating lawns, that's when it's got to hit. As soon as they get out on the road, because they're going to get out as soon as they very possibly can. And it doesn't matter if it's 70 degrees or not. They'll be out treating if it's 40 degrees. They'll be out treating if it's 35 degrees. As soon as those guys are out treating lawns, you want it to hit. Mike's telling me his client just got a flyer from True Green offering 10% off to sign up again after a cancel of 2 years ago. I'm glad you said that, Mike. That's what this is right here. If you have customers that have canceled with you in the past, customers who, right here, over the years, the more customers you have, if 15% of them cancel, 12, 15% cancel every year, you begin to develop a pretty huge database of customers who've canceled with you. You know, we had, thousands and thousands and thousands. That's, it's all going to be relative, but this was a gimme right now, and this was a winter mailing, cancel mail and reject mail. I got nothing in here because I'm assuming that we don't have a lot of those. But for those of you who have canceled customers and those of you who have rejects, these are customers you've done an estimate before in the past, but they did not sign up. I would send out, we used to send out what we call the proposal, and it came right off of Real Green. Basically prints an estimate. It's in an envelope. It's something that says if it's a canceled customer, it gives you an offer to come back. Please, if you come back, we'll give you 50% off. If you come back, we'll give you round one free. If you come back, we'll, whatever. You drop those in the mail and 1% come back, like a gimme. Automatic, 1%, with no work. Costs money to get it in the mail, snail mail, gets in people's mailboxes. It's magic. Send them out, 1% comes back. And it's not a lot of sales, but when we're trying to find a lot of sales and a lot of sources, every single sale counts. So I guarantee you what that is, Mike. A flyer, whether it's a postcard or an envelope or an offer or something in there, they know that too. The 1%. Same thing with reject. Send it out, 1% comes back. You also want to call them. That's what the reinstate and pre-qual is. Pre-qual, again, is just a fancy way to say reject. In this case, I figured all of you guys who have existing prior business, whether they're maintenance, construction, anything else, that's a pre-qualified lead. But a reject lead is a pre-qual is a fancy way for reject. 60 degrees in Colorado Springs. Hi, Andrew. You want to know what it is in Manchester, New Hampshire, or what it was in Mount Vernon, New Hampshire this morning? It was -4. And when I went out to the bus stop, my beard froze, and I'm shaving tomorrow. Okay. So we're almost at an hour, and we haven't got to what we wanted to do. So -10 last night. Sal, yikes. The next thing that we want to do with this is we need to spread these leads out. And I promise there's nothing after this other than budget impact, and we're not going to do that now. So we know how many leads we need to generate. They're not going to get generated on their own. They're not just going to appear. You need to work. Plan, implement, adjust. This is the implement part. So take every lead source that you have and figure out when you're going to generate them. Leads by month. Referrals. Now, we don't have I'm assuming you don't have a lot of historical data because you probably didn't keep real good track of this. But if you do and you start keeping track of everything, all you're going to do is look back at last year and assume that will happen again. So you look at what leads were generated with a referral source code from last year and just plug them in. It'll happen again, usually plus 5%. Your pre-quals that you're going to get on the phone and call, generate 50 leads this month. Just do it, or set up a system to make it happen. You have to do it. It's not going to happen on its own. You need people on the telephone. Same thing. Your direct mail is going to hit mostly in March and April. I guess in this case, this is a northeastern budget. Door knocking, March and April. And then you got to keep track of it every single day of the week, every month. And when you fall behind, take your goal for the next week and crank it up and make it happen. The implementation part of this is what's going to make it work. Track every single thing. Track your closing percents. If your closing percents are low for some reason on referral and you're in the implementation stage, that means you need to adjust. You might want to, if for some reason your closing percents are terribly low, you need to fire up a quick telemarketing campaign. I think I said this before. from about now on, stop yourself a couple times during the day and ask yourself if what you're doing is making you get closer to your sales goal. And if what you're doing at that moment isn't getting you closer to your sales goal, change what you're doing and get closer to your sales goal. Because without your sales goal being hit or coming close to it, it's just not going to work. So flow them out and make it happen. I want to do a couple other referrals. We got National Data Group. They can get you email lists. A lot of you guys have been asking about printing and design work. This is one company we've been talking to about helping out with that. McDonaldGraphics.com. They can do design work. They can do printing. They can do, well, all this stuff. So go right to this website if you need to have estimates printed. We're hooked up with all these companies in regards to our information with our logos and collateral and whatever they need. You know, we can get for them. Brian Campodelli suggested this to us last week, and I looked into it. Sorry, excuse me. Lawn Mail, lawn-mail.com, lawn-mail.com. They do a lot of lawn care advertising and marketing stuff. Planet Graphics, a guy named Bob. This is a company down in Pennsylvania that specializes in lawn care marketing stuff. Postcards, door hangers, business cards, brochures, all this stuff. Planet Graphics. I can't think of the guy's last name right now. Bob. He just sent me an email this morning, actually. So Planet Graphics will do this kind of stuff too. So will McDonald. McDonald Graphics. I think that was it. Dave Monson's telling me it was 45 degrees below in Minnesota today. I guess I should quit complaining about 5 below. Chris, I know I'd like to do that too, and we've talked about it a few times, and we've never done it. It's probably a good idea. Mike, great question. Email blasting, same as direct mail? No. Nope. You know what, and Mike and I talked about this yesterday. We talked about, anybody ever hear of HubSpot? HubSpot is an inbound marketing service. Basically helps you generate leads by just kind of lead nurturing, being in touch with people, being the expert at something. So no, an email blast campaign is going to happen over the course of weeks. Not just one time. A direct mail campaign is like you get one chance. They hit, and if they don't work, you're kind of bumming. That's why the timing is so important. So email blast I would do every 3 weeks or so starting now. How about starting tomorrow? Try to have some sort of content, something that's going to be valuable to somebody, a good offer, and just kind of nurture them along every three weeks through the end of April, and you'll make it happen. Lots more questions here. Good referral, Andrew. Andrew Newland uses a guy locally that he says is awesome. It's called Inspired Studios. Tracy Watkins, T. Watkins at inspiredstudiosgroup.com. So inspiredstudiosgroup.com. I'm assuming that's for design and stuff, Andrew. Another one here, graphic designers. Fiverr.com, graphic designers starting at $5 per project. That's cool. Is that FIVVER.com, Sal? Or FIVER? It's either one, Fiverr or Fiverr. FIVVER or FIVER. Now he's saying it's Fiverr, FIVVER.com. Good question, Tina. And then I'm gonna ask this. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna answer it with seriousness. Do you recommend we go into the phone books? We get 1 to 3 leads from there a year. Not sure if it's worth it. It's not worth it. Yellow pages are dead. Do not spend any money. Do not spend any money on yellow page advertising. Don't spend a dime, because not anybody other than very older people would ever use the. Keith, good question. We were going to, and I will. Keith's asking if we're ever going to talk about athletic fields. Yes. Although we've been at it for an hour. Tell you what, because I know a lot of guys got to jump off. Do you want to do? Why don't we do another one tomorrow? Good. Lots of guys are saying, can we reschedule it? Let's do something tomorrow. Let's do our athletic fields tomorrow. How about the same time? I have to check my schedule real quick. Tomorrow is Friday. How about tomorrow, 1 o'clock? What I'll do is I'll create a webinar. I'll email it out. I'll have Scott email it out. You guys have to register for it. Because I don't know if I can just, I'm trying to think of my go-to webinar platform here. Yes, I can record it. I record them all, by the way. I'm recording this one too. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, log on using the same thing that you always use to log on, and we'll do 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll do athletic fields, because I actually spent a lot of time preparing something too. And it will include colleges. It will include municipalities. It'll include everything. Terry at gardengate.net. You got it, Charlie. Yes, I will record it. You can review the other webinars here. I've been putting them at yourlawnbusiness.com. I've been posting them here. Yourlawnbusiness.com. I think I've been kind of thinking I can use it sort of as a marketing thing too, but I don't know. I just needed a place to put everything we do. Yourlawnbusiness.com will have all of every conference call we ever do. I also put some other marketing stuff up there. Videos that we've done. This is last week's conference call. This is Big Dave Malevsky doing a pH test. So they're all here. So I'm sorry that we got delayed and didn't get to athletic fields, but it was a very good call. I'm glad we spent some time doing that on the marketing. I'm glad we kind of wrapped it up, because it has to be wrapped up by now. So I know some of you are probably pissed we didn't get to athletic fields, but we only have an hour a week. We'll do a special athletic field thing tomorrow. 1 o'clock, log on using your same thing. I'll try to have Scott send out a reminder that you can log on through. But why don't we wrap it up now? It's been an hour, and we'll reconvene tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I will record it. I'll put it here. Anything else, guys? Is there anything else we want to hit before we hang up? Thanks. Thank you, Tina. Okay, guys. Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow. Keith, hopefully you don't have, I didn't know you guys were getting snow. Oh, I think we're getting a little bit too. Maybe that's what it's coming from. So let me put it this way. I hope you do get snow, because I know you need to make some money. So hopefully most of you can't show up tomorrow, but I'll record it and we'll post it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys.